What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the new Ford Mustang Mach 1. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this muscle car for today's video. Definitely check out the link to their website linked below. And the model that we're looking at today is a Mach 1 Premium finished off in race red and has a list price around $63,000. Underneath the hood of the Ford Mustang Mach 1, you're going to find a naturally aspirated 5-liter 8-cylinder engine. This V8 pumps out 470 horsepower with 420 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a 6-speed manual transmission, sending all the power to the rear wheels through a limited-slip rear differential. Curb weight is around 3,700 pounds. It can do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and top out around 168 miles per hour. It runs on a 16-gallon fuel tank, so you're looking at 15 miles per gallon in the city with 23 out on the highway. Overall length is 188.5 inches with a wheelbase at 107.1. Height is 54.3 and width is 75.4 inches. The Mach 1 also features a Magneride suspension, 6-piston Brembo brake calipers, and it features the Tremec 6-speed manual. And then on to the exterior styling of the outgoing Ford Mustang Mach 1. This has that classic design that looks like a nice retro muscle car. You can see the LED headlights up front featuring a blacked out housing and those traditional 3 bars. Has a really cool look for those DRLs. Really sharp body lines all throughout the front bumper. Then you can see the turn signals as well as a large opening. The Mach 1 gets a massive front splitter finished off in a black plastic, protrudes outwards like 6 inches to really help with the airflow. You can also see a gloss black lower grille to allow cooling to the engine. And then we also get a massive upper grille finished in gloss black. I like the mesh design as well as the satin color for the pony logo, and that same color is surrounding it. We have circle designs on the farthest sides that have a pretty cool design, and I really love how the front end of the S550 comes together. Really muscular car, and then up top you can see this massive stripe. You can see Mach 1 written on it along with white, black, and more of that satin gray. Leads its way to the windshield. There's also functional heat extraction vents up top and really sharp body lines making their way towards that windshield. The hood is really long on the Ford Mustang, giving it that prominent design, and I love how that front splitter even comes around the edge. This particular spec features an aftermarket set of 19-inch wheels. They have a gloss black color with a multi-spoke design, and then you can see some sharp lines around these front fenders. I love the old school font for Mach 1 written out on this front fender, and then we get another stripe in the lower portion of these doors. You get a large side skirt as well to match that front splitter, and a really sharp body line in the side profile. The side mirrors are finished off in that same satin gray with an integrated turn signal, and then we get body colored door handles. There's black trim for the B pillar to make all the glass blend seamlessly, and then more sharp lines along the roof and a shark fin antenna. Moving to the entire side profile, this is a fastback, so it has that really nice sloping rear end design that gives it that traditional muscle car appearance, and I love how the rear end just fades its way into the trunk. You can see a really sharp line above the rear wheel to give it a nice muscular design, and then I love that same satin color along this trunk mounted spoiler. We get Mach 1 written in back with your backup camera and a gloss black trim piece, and then a really cool design for these 3-dimensional taillights. They of course will feature that signature sequential turn signal, which is a really cool design touch, and you can see more sharp body lines throughout the rear bumper. We get a massive rear diffuser finished in satin black, and this one has a Corsa exhaust system. Very nice aftermarket design. Then you can see a massive area in the center with more openings along with a reverse light, and the Mach 1 really comes together to look good. So there's a good look at the exterior design with the Mach 1 Mustang. I'll be really excited to see what the new generation looks like if they continue the Mach 1 name. Really sporty looking car. With that said, we have Ford's key fob, pretty typical. We have the pony logo on one side and your basic buttons. Going ahead and locking the car, it does have the smart access. By just grabbing the door handle, it'll unlock, and we can check out this interior. This particular Mach 1 gets the ebony leather interior with the Recaro bucket seats. You're also going to see some silver and gray accents. Taking a look at the door panel now, finished off in black. We get some white stitching along the side with a little bit of perforated leather, some soft area for your armrest, as well as a grab handle. We have window controls and mirror controls, then your release handle with lock and unlock. Then you can see speakers on the door and then a little bit of storage. We get Mach 1 written out on the door sill with a nice checkered flag look, and the Recaros are all manual. You can see the one in the center, this will make it go up and down. We have recline in the back, and then a bar up front for forwards and back. These have really large bolsters. I love the design of them. You get some smooth as well as perforated leather. Then the backrests also have really large bolsters. Really nice design with Recaro stitched into it. You have areas where you could put extra harnesses and then more stitching. Moving our way to the steering wheel, finished off in black leather with some silver trim. And then now inside the Mach 1, keep my foot on the clutch, we can go ahead and fire it up. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, this is a massive LCD digital display. You can see a massive tach going around the top along with the speedometer to the right side, and then your gear is over on the left. You can configure the design. You have a drive mode toggle on the far right side. If we just toggle this up and down, it'll go into a different view depending on the drive mode. Normal will have a traditional view, but if I go ahead and go into sport, this is the traditional sport mode one, and then going into the track mode, it gets really cool looking. And then if you go ahead and tap the Mustang logo over on this right side, we can configure all sorts of different things. We have a quiet mode for the exhaust, which you heard in the rev, all the way into the track mode. You have the My Mode as well, which you can adjust how everything is designed. You can kind of customize it. Then you can go under your track apps and see a few more things like acceleration timer, brake performance. You get your line lock and lap timer. Then you have a start option, shift indicator, all sorts of cool things. If we take a look at the steering wheel now, we get controls on the left for volume and cruise control, and then on the right we get a few Bluetooth and audio controls as well. We have the stalk on the right for windshield wipers, and then turn signal stalk over on the left. And then on the left of the actual steering wheel, we have your trunk button as well as some storage. This will open up. Above that, we have a really cool dark aluminum design for the plastic trim, and then headlight controls. There's one of the air vents, along with the traditional double bump design for the dashboard, which is a really cool classic look. We get the Mach 1 logo, along with the chassis number, and then more of that plastic material along the dashboard. In the center, we do get Bang & Olufsen audio system. We have an oil pressure gauge, as well as the engine vacuum. And then moving to the Sync 3 screen, you can see all of our climate controls will come up very easily. You can adjust the dual zone, the fan speed and everything, heated steering wheel as well. We have audio that can come up. We have phone integration. Of course, a navigation screen is built into the system. And then we have an apps icon as well, and then all of your settings. You can swipe left and right. If I go ahead and push the clutch in and go into reverse, backup camera will pop up with a pretty good HD view. You can even tap the plus icon and get a little bit more of a close-up. Going back into neutral, we do get physical controls underneath that for volume and tuning, a few more in the center, and then physical climate controls right in the center. You get dual zone temperature, you can toggle this, and it comes up on the screen every time you make an adjustment. Fan speed is in the center, on, off, and more controls. Start button is on this left side. You get your hazard control, traction control, steering, and then the drive mode, and then a little bit of storage down below. You can see some more of that stitching and this vinyl material wrapping around the shifter, and I love the Mach 1 shift knob. It's a nice round design, very classic. Manual park and brake, 2 cup holders, and then a good armrest with some stitching, and then a little bit of storage space down below. Taking a look at the glove box now, you have a pretty good bucket in here as well. And then one last look at the S550 Mach 1's interior. Really sporty design. I especially love the Recaro seats in here, and of course having the digital screen and that shift knob and those toggles. Pretty nice design. Then up top we get a frameless mirror and all your dome lights and a garage door button. The Mach 1 Mustang still gets back seats. If I just grab the lever on the back side, we can pull the seat out of the way. Then you have perfect access for the rear. You're gonna get 2 bucket seats in a Mustang. You can see how they have stitching and all the same leather as well. So now sitting into the back seat of the Mustang Mach 1, like any Mustang Coupe, a little cramped on headroom. I'm 5'11". When we have the driver's seat at my height sitting back here, you still get some knee room and foot room, so it is usable for full-grown adults. Obviously, it's pretty cramped back here, but in a pinch, it's nice to know that a sports car or muscle car like this can fit 2 adults in back. And we have grab handles on the back easily. You can get them and get out of the way. And now moving on to the trunk space for the Mustang Mach 1. You can double tap the button on the key fob. There is one on the rear bumper, or of course the one on the interior. But just lifting this open, Mustang gives you a ton of cargo area, and we even get a nice sub in this right side. You can see just how large it is with a pretty good opening. I've already manually folded the seats down. You can see just how much more space you're gonna get in the back of this car. And then if we go through the side, those rear seats fold down nearly flat, and we get a pretty good opening into the back to make this a very practical muscle car. All right, so setting off now in the Mach 1. So we are in track mode, everything. This thing sounds so good with the Corsa exhaust. Definitely a really smooth power delivery from that 5.0, and the Tremec manual 6-speed is so precise. It's insanely notchy, very tight gearbox. I love that they added that to the Mach 1 versus the standard transmission. It sounds so good. So the power, this is kind of like a GT350 mixed with a Bullet. It kind of just has that old school mechanical feeling. You know, it's not blow your socks off crazy fast and powerful, but it is a really peppy car. It is, I mean, it goes very smoothly up to some speed. And it's just kind of that old school back to the original of what a muscle car is. Just a big motor and a heck of a lot of fun. It sounds insane. So just getting up to some speed again. Very healthy motor. I just love how it just pulls, and it sounds, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Like, I have no words. It sounds so good with that Corsa exhaust. But when you're in this car, it handles really nice and tight. I love how solid it feels over a traditional GT. Even the ones with the performance package, the Mach 1 feels more solid, it feels tighter together, and I really like that aspect. It's a good touch to make this a step above a performance pack GT. As far as some normal driving, if we just tone the car down into the normal mode, and of course we can put the exhaust into the quiet mode, but in the quiet mode and everything, the car tones down to just be a normal Mustang, especially with the magnetic dampers now in comfort mode. I mean, everything is just so toned down. You still get all the power, of course, but now we get the softer ride, the lighter steering, and that super quiet exhaust to where it's just a normal Mustang. I mean, it's roomy in here. You have great visibility out of the windshield. Mirrors all do a great job. And visibility, honestly, is pretty good. This is such a well-rounded car, and I think the Mach 1 just takes it up a notch to give you actual performance and actual handling above a GT performance package. There really is a big difference that I've found, at least when driving the two cars. I've driven tons of Mustangs, and I've actually driven quite a few Mach 1s at this point. I really like it. The Recaro seats are also incredibly comfortable. They really hold you in nice and tight. Really can't complain with this. I think this is one of the best Mustangs Ford has ever made. The GT500, of course, has the power that blows your socks off with the acceleration and just some crazy horsepower. This one is more of that pure muscle car, just the precision, just the fun factor, and you just get the all-motor performance. So it's a great blend. I really enjoy driving these. All right, so flipping around now. Oh man. Honestly, like I said, I really like the Mach 1. It gives you such a good balance of handling and, of course, the performance. It's a little bit quicker than a GT, which is a little bit more horsepower, but I think the handling is a big step up. The steering feel is tighter, the suspension is a big step up, and it just has a little bit extra special factor. It's not crazy, you know. The exterior design isn't too much different than a normal GT. It's really just a few little goodies here and there, and then the interior really is the exact same aside from that badge there. This is a souped up GT basically, and I like that because Mustang in general isn't exactly the best handling car. You know, they're muscle cars. They're more for straight line, decent cornering when needed, but this just takes it up the notch to where it has some precision to where you can take this on some mountain roads, take it to the track, and really put it through its paces. And I like that blend. I like cars that can do more than just one thing. This can be a good, normal daily driver car. The clutch pedal, honestly, is really light. The shifter's nice and precise. You're never finding gears. It's just super easy to drive. Really relaxful, really normal, really easy. But then I just love when you tone this thing all the way up into track mode, it gets so much different, right? Instantly now, I can feel all these little bumps. and the steering wheel is just super tight now. It's not the heaviest steering feel in the world, but it's nice and tight to where it kind of fits the balance of the car. And this Corsa exhaust sounds really good. I think it's just a catback on it, but we had the active valve to still work with the stock system and everything. But it just spruces up the car to where there's now like that extra fun factor to where you know you're in a Mustang, but you're in a special Mustang that has more to offer than just your typical one. So we'll get back onto the fun roads. This one has some miles, so of course we can get on it just a little bit. Red line is over 7,000 RPM. I'm not going to go that crazy since I don't own this car, but this is a motor that craves to be driven. And the gear ratios are really good to where you can use the gears. You're not shifting all the time. You can literally throw it in 4th gear and just play with the car. You don't have to worry about shifting in 3,000 RPM at 50 miles an hour. I have plenty of power to accelerate. You know, I can slow down and still be above 3,000. Oh man, it's a good balance of a car. If you've always wanted a muscle car, but you don't want the drawbacks of a muscle car, this is one of them to look at, because it's not all about just brute power like a Hellcat. I mean, you're good for a straight line, but that's about it. Speaking of straight line, gosh, it just sings. It sings. But like I said, you know, the Hellcat's going to be a straight line muscle car. This one tones it down a little bit. May not be quite as precise as a Camaro 2SS or maybe a 1LE Camaro, but this does give you better visibility, better trunk storage space, things like that, to make it a more usable car than at least a Camaro. All right, finishing it up, another acceleration. Pushes in your seat just a little bit. There's a little extra touch of muscle to the horsepower, so they're quicker than I may think. If you really get on them and utilize the engine, they pack a nice little punch. Man, and I can imagine with aftermarket mods, you know, putting a supercharger or something would be pretty nuts. But the way these come out of the factory, such a well-balanced Mustang, one of the best ones I think that they made, and I really hope Ford continues Mach 1 onto the new generation, because I think this just really is a good sweet spot that takes the muscle car to a level where not every muscle car would be the exact same, where this might be something that a non-muscle car person might want to buy, like myself. I'm not really a muscle car fan, quite honestly. These cars are okay in my opinion. I appreciate what these have to offer, but this one has the balance that I prefer, and that Tremec makes it to where you can use the power, use the car, and have a heck of a lot of fun. Unfortunately, that isn't it for the newest Ford Mustang Mach 1. One heck of a good car, quite honestly. This is one of the best Mustangs. Really has a lot to offer. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content to come. And a big shout out and thank you once again to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this Mach 1 for today's video. Check out the link to their website linked below. They get some amazing cars. And I'll leave you guys with one last acceleration. See you guys in the next video.